It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So we have a brand new host. We actually have two brand new hosts of Locked On Red Sox. We say goodbye to Gabrielle, who was a guest on the show many times. And she's going on to do some new things, and we wish her luck. She's terrific. But guess what? I was over the moon thrilled that the new host of Locked On Red Sox was a familiar face for me and a familiar person for those following the Red Sox at Nesson. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, Lauren Campbell. How are you?
I'm great, Sully. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in.
Good.
We're here. We're loving life a little bit here, and I wanted to bring you on. We're just pulling back the curtain a little bit. We are recording this it's right around 8:15 West Coast time, and that means it's 11:15 East Coast time on the 10th, and we just witnessed the fact that Matt Barnes of the Red Sox, I'm going to go right there. You threw your head right back like, oh my God, he's going right there. Matt Barnes of the Red Sox was at one point an all-star this year. That's hard to remember because he has 3 losses in the last 5 games?
Yes.
That's very hard to do. So we should congratulate him. And really congratulate anyone who traded away Matt Barnes on their fantasy team around the All-Star break. They're really the winners here. But what the heck is going on with the Red Sox?
Oh, man, what a loaded question. The bullpen is taxed. Matt Barnes and Josh Taylor both are coming back down to earth. And I think that was to be expected, but to just kind of do a crash landing is a lot. And the Red Sox starters, they're not reliable. Even on Tuesday night, Erod did give a pretty solid outing. He did go a lot longer than he has and a lot longer than other starters have this season. But at the end of the day, this bullpen is taxed. They needed a reliever at the trade deadline, and I mean they got 2 of them, but at what cost? They've been terrible. They didn't even go to them Tuesday night, and rightfully so. But oh man, it's tough to watch Matt Barnes fall from grace because he's been so solid all season, and ever since the All-Star break he's a totally different pitcher, or maybe he's been the same pitcher that he was in 2020 and 2019.
Yeah, I mean, one of the amazing things was just 2 weeks ago the Red Sox were tied with Houston for the best record in the American League. They had played well against Toronto. They had played well against the Yankees. They had the dramatic series against the Yankees where those comeback wins. They had a 2.5-game lead over Tampa Bay. That was just 2 weeks ago. And since then, they've played 12 games and lost 10 of them. And some of the games have been stupid. I'm going to call today a stupid loss. The game where they were winning with the George Springer Grand Slam game, that was a stupid loss. These are games where they were leading by a few runs, and we concentrate on the endings of some of these games, but there have been a lot of times where players have been stranding the bases loaded or not getting that big knock in or allowing the other team to sort of chip away in the middle innings and sort of set up the big rally. And for the first about 2/3 of this season, there was this sense of, oh man, good things are happening with this Red Sox team. And now, Sean McDonough said it on the broadcast on WEEI tonight, there's now a sense of doom and dogs barking. You just heard it right there. The dogs are barking, and that's not a good sign.
No, especially if she's barking. That's not good.
Can she pitch?
Oh God, I'll ask her. She's a good runner. I don't know if she's a good pitcher.
Oh God, yeah, put her in the 10th. But, I'm bewildered that the team did not trade for a starting pitcher at the trade deadline. I think that they've been going to the bullpen so often. You're right. I mean, and eventually, Matt Barnes was having a spectacular year, and it's kind of coming back to earth. Look I hate to turn to the Yankees for advice, but they put Chapman on the shelf for a little bit and said, "You're not going to close for a little bit." And even though their bullpen was a mess at that point, I think that helped the team for, because the Yankees are starting to turn things around. Not that they have a great pitcher sitting there waiting to come in, but at this point, you just can't keep handing the ball to Barnes because he looks timid up there.
He does, and I feel like he doesn't trust his stuff right now. I don't know if it's mental, I don't know if it's physical. Maybe he's just fatigued, and that very well could be it. But at the end of the day, you're this team's closer, and whether it's 3 outs, 4 outs, maybe sometimes it's 5 outs, you need to go out there and give this team what they need. And they needed so desperately. They needed that tonight, and it didn't happen.
Well, they needed that last game in Toronto, too. If they went into Toronto the way Toronto's been playing and split that series, I would have been happy with that. And I would have been happy winning this game against Tampa because it's always good to win the first game of a series. You inch a little closer. It puts the other team on their heels a little bit. And now they're totally on their heels for tomorrow's game. And I don't even know who the hell is even pitching.
Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. It's
Eovaldi. So
okay. All right.
He had a crappy outing the last time. The fifth inning fell apart, 4 2/3. But he's always good at bouncing back. He's been pretty solid all season. I'm more confident going into this game than Tuesday. But at the same time, it's like Erod gave you everything you needed, and you couldn't get it done. The offense gave you everything you needed, and you couldn't get it done. It's beyond frustrating.
And God, it seems like a year ago that the Red Sox had that series against the Yankees where they had those 2 amazing comebacks. And in those games from that series, you saw the Red Sox making all the plays, going first to third on hits, being really aggressive. And not only are they playing a little bit defensively right now, they're also making stupid mistakes. Like JD Martinez throwing to third instead of second at one point today, or Franchi not being able to catch a pop-up that went into foul territory. Now, in the end, that didn't affect that at bat, but it meant Barnes had to throw a couple extra pitches. And you don't know the combination of things that him throwing some more pitches and getting frustrated on the mound, did that account for his meltdown at the end? And you're not seeing them playing that aggressive style or playing that sense that, all right, we're going to, do something really great, and the fun of pushing the people around in the shopping cart and everything like that. It all feels a little like, I don't know, the last time I saw the Red Sox was starting pitching like this, they were eating fried chicken and drinking beer and playing video games from 2011. And believe me, you don't want to remember that September.
No, that's the last thing I want to remember right now. And I don't know. I said in my Lockdown Now video that I'm speechless, and it's just, that's exactly what it is, because they were winning 7-2 on Sunday. I was like, oh, heck yeah, we're going to win again.
To win, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, this is going to be a great, 4-1. I know it's the Rays, but you know what? This is exactly what they needed. This is exactly how they need to win this game. And then I take my dog outside. I come back, it's 4-4. I was like, what happened? What in the world happened? I should be able to trust this team for 3 minutes while I take my dog out, and I can't. And it's awful. It's flashbacks of the 2011 team.
Don't walk your dog.
Never again. She can take herself out. She's a strong, independent woman. She can take her own walk.
All right. Do you want some optimism for Red Sox fans?
Yes, of course.
I'll give you some optimisms. And for fans of Locked On MLB, you've heard me say this all season long. This American League has no favorite. And every team, all the contenders, Tampa, Boston, Oakland, Houston, Chicago, Toronto, New York, hell, I'll even throw in Seattle and Anaheim at this point, even though they're kind of like Pluto. They're in the far reaches of the solar system of contention right now. They've all had moments of great winning streaks and all had great moments of nothing's going right. And the whole season's been like that. And I've been saying all year, there's no 100-win team in this league. There's no 100-loss team in this league. And there's going to be about 7 teams between 93 and 87 wins all mashed together. And the difference between having home field advantage in the ALCS and playing golf during the wild card game is going to be about 3 or 4 games. And so right now, the Red Sox are in that low tide part right now. We're like, oh my God, things are looking horrible. And there's going to be a part where things start to go right, partly because the Yankees will go on a slump. The Rays will go on a slump. The Red Sox will start to beat some teams they should. And then, oh, everything's going great. Everything's going great. And then there's going to be, it's the tides. All season long, it's been this way. We've seen this with the Red Sox this year, where there's gone on these stretches like, oh my God, it's 2013 all over again. And oh my God, it's beer and chicken and video games. We've been seeing it. And so I think this team's going to get a jolt when Schwarber comes back. I think this team's going to get a jolt when they finally say, hey, look at all of our kids, whether it's, whomever is in Worcester, they're going to give some shots to some other people that will give them a jolt. And Chris Sale, even if he's not starting, even if he's coming in as sort of a super reliever, giving him 2 or 3 innings to build himself up, his presence of saying, hey, that's the guy who was on the mound when they won the World Series, that sense of hope will wind up helping the team. And basically, lest we forget, it's mid-August and they're still a playoff team, and they will be for the next couple of days because they still have a few game lead over New York and Seattle and Toronto and the Angels. So despite all these terrible things that are happening, they're still a playoff team right now.
They are. And I think my hope, like what I'm holding on to right now, is that the Red Sox haven't had a slump like this season. It was to be expected at some point. I thought it would happen well before the 100-game mark, but it's happening a little later than probably a lot of people expected it to be. So that's what's keeping me from like throwing myself off the edge right now, but it's still very frustrating. But there's still plenty of baseball left to be played.
Okay, let me be right now. This is the last thought, okay? This is my way to placate you, my friend Lauren, and any other Red Sox fans listening to this. Okay, I'm going to be Superman. I'm going to spin around the earth and spin it backwards and go back time. I'm going to go opening day. I'm going to say, hey, Lauren, on August 11th, the Red Sox will be one of the wild card teams by a couple of games and will have already have won the season series against the Yankees. Would you take it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. No one looked at this team like, oh, this is it. We're going to win, cowboy up.
Yep.
So the fact that the Red Sox are currently in a position that we all would have signed off on opening day, maybe Red Sox fans should say, hey, okay, it's been bumpy. It's that line from Kill Bill of it. You didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you? Yeah, for a second, I kind of did. Well, it's not. So we got to play the crazy 88s or whatever, the Lucy Liu with all the swords. Yeah, I'm throwing around my movie references too fast. But, this has been the season, and there are ebbs and flows. And right now, for Red Sox fans, it's an ebb. And so I don't think there should be abject panic. I think they should be worried because a bad starting rotation and a taxed bullpen is a recipe for disaster. But the other good thing is the people following them are not exactly the 1998 Yankees.
Correct.
As I said, the one team that scares the baked beans and cod and chowder out of me is Toronto. And if Toronto makes the playoffs, everybody gulp.
Yes.
Because they're getting that second win because they're playing home games finally. But Red Sox fans all would have signed off on this scenario. So I'm signing off on the scenario that Lauren Campbell is here. Lauren, do you have any final words for today's episode?
Don't panic. Even though I'm panicking, don't panic.
Don't be like Lauren.
Don't be like me.
Don't be like Lauren. To quote another thing, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic. Don't panic. And what you should do is you should follow Lauren. And who's your co-host?
Jason Mastrodonato of the Boston Herald.
Easy for you to say.
Right.
And you follow them at LO_Red Sox on Twitter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It better be. I wrote that on the caption underneath there. Lauren Campbell, Locked On Red Sox, is not going to panic, or at least she's going to keep her panicking close to her chest. And you should do what she does, which is don't panic. Do not. This is Locked On MLB. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Lauren, what can people call me?
Just call him Sully.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.